Welcome to Right Now Workshop Podcast. I'm your host, Kitty Bucholtz, and this is episode 35, Writing in a Kindle World. We've heard about Kindle Worlds for a few years now, but I don't really know anything about them. So I thought it would be very interesting for all of us if I interviewed somebody who is a Kindle World owner, and that would be author Debra Holland, our guest today. Then I also thought it would be fun, and in fact, it was Debra's idea, that I interview some of the writers in her world. So for the next 3 weeks, I'll also be bringing on some of the writers in the Montana Sky series Kindle World. So I hope that you enjoy all the information that Debra is going to present to us. I have to say I learned quite a bit, and it sounds really interesting. I hope you enjoy it. Here's the show. Hello, everyone. Today's guest is author Debra Holland, the New York Times and USA Today best-selling author of the award-winning Montana Sky series, which is sweet Western historical romance, and the Godstream trilogy, which is fantasy romance. Debra is a 3-time Romance Writers of America Golden Heart finalist and a 1-time winner. In 2013, Amazon selected Starry Montana Sky as one of the top 50 greatest love stories. When she's not writing, Dr. Debra works as a psychotherapist and corporate crisis/grief counselor. She's the author of The Essential Guide to Grief and Grieving, a book about helping people cope with all kinds of loss, and Cultivating an Attitude About Gratitude, a 10-minute ebook. She's also a contributing author to The Naked Truth About Self-Publishing. Welcome, Debra.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you. So I love that you took a few minutes in between books to come and talk to us, because you have some of the greatest self-publishing stories. They're just fun stories to listen to.
Oh, thanks. We can't put them all in here today. We have a few more sessions.
That's right. Well, so we have a very specific topic that we wanted to cover today, and that is Kindle Worlds. Luckily, I don't know that much about them, so I thought I would let you just kind of describe to listeners what it is, how an author gets involved on the one hand and on the other hand, and we'll just kind of explain to people how it works.
All right. Well, Kindle World is Amazon's licensed fan fiction. So that means people can come in and they can write stories in my Montana Sky series, which is my Montana Sky Kindle World. So let's pretend Batman would be a franchise, a Kindle World. And so if people wanted to write a Batman story, they could then upload it in the portal on Amazon, and it would be contracted with Amazon, and they would be paid for it. So Batman isn't a Kindle World, but that's a pretty easy way to sort of describe it. That's something everybody knows.
Okay. All right. So how did the process come about that you ended up having a Kindle World? You started out self-publishing.
I started out self-publishing with Wild Montana Sky and Starry Montana Sky. And then I got contracted by Amazon Montlake, which is an imprint of Amazon, the romance imprint. And so they started publishing some of my books. And I also continue to self-publish. So I have the Montana Sky series is partially traditionally published, partially indie published. And
not all of the books in the series are all published by Amazon Montlake?
No, the big books are. My ones that are 80,000 words and above are published by Montlake. Although the last 2 have been by me. So I have my first 6 of the big books.
All right. Very cool. And so how, can you tell us a little bit more about, like, how does it come about? How did you get involved? Did they contact you, or did you contact them?
Yes, they came to me. And actually, it's really going to be pretty much impossible to do it for new authors now. So they're not really opening it up, any more worlds up.
Okay.
It's not totally, I don't think 100%, but it would be really difficult for it to happen now for people.
Okay.
But they approached me, I think it was like 4 years ago at a conference and wanted me to do a Kindle World. And I said no at the time, because I had some stories. Still have stories in my head for the Montana Sky series. And I didn't want anybody sort of swooping in and taking a story away from certain characters I already knew were going to have their stories. They were already in the world, but their stories were coming.
Right.
And also I wanted to open up a mining town about 2 days out of my small Western town, which is called Sweetwater Springs. So 2 days away, I was going to have a mining camp called Morgan's Crossing. But I needed to write the books first and set that mini world up. And then I figured that would be the perfect place for channeling plenty of authors into the mining camp, because it'd sort of be like open season there, because I don't only going to set 2 books, 2 smaller books in that place. So I said no, because let me finish what are some of these books I need to write first. Mm-hmm. And I came back to the Amazon rep a year later and said, okay, I'm ready. And so we negotiated the contract and figured out what to do. And I had to write this very extensive Bible and if you're starting out as an author with a series, start a Bible from the very beginning. Trying to do it at about 18 books is just like so overwhelming. And actually I didn't do it. I actually paid somebody else or a couple people to do it for me. And I haven't updated it. So
right.
Like, oh, gotta do that one. It's on the list. It's on the to-do list.
Yeah.
So, So a series Bible, when you have a series, really good idea. And so I said yes to that. And then we started, talking to some of my friends, because there's 2 ways that people can publish. Anyone can come in off the street, write a story, Montana Sky series story, and they can upload it through the portal on Amazon, and it gets published.
Really?
I might not ever know them. There are some Montana Sky books. I have no idea who those authors are. I wish I would, because I would say, you might want to change some of those things, but I have no clue. The other way is people contact me and say, I want to write in your world. And so then I have a Facebook group, a private Facebook group. I put them in the group. All the other authors are there. They can ask me questions. They can show their covers. They can say, hey, I want to know who's got this kind of character, and I'm going to have a party. Who could I invite? Or that kind of thing. And they can they can sort of cross their worlds a little bit. It's their stories, and bring in other people's characters if they want. So they can go visiting each other, as well as, so it's not just my books that people are now exploring the characters with. There's this whole world. There's more than, I don't know, I haven't even counted lately, but there's like 60 books.
60 books just in the Montana Skies world?
In the Kindle World. Yeah.
Holy cow. Okay, this is definitely different than I thought it was. I thought people had to get your permission and kind of, get interviewed by you.
No, not at all. They have to get interviewed to be part of my group, and I haven't said no to anybody. So it's, if they don't know me directly, because obviously I had a lot of people that I knew that wrote, either they wrote contemporary Western or they wrote historical Western. And so I could contact them and say, hey, you want to do this? Or people would be friends of friends, or they would know me online or something like that. And they would come to me and say, can I be part of your group? And that's when I would do, phone interview, tell them what it's about. And if they're interested, then I add them to the group.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So Amazon is the gatekeeper, the portal keeper?
They're not even really much of a gatekeeper. They do sort of some kind of check to make sure that the book matches the world, but it's not very stringent. And so basically, like I said, there's a portal and you upload it. And once you do that, Amazon gives you a contract, because you're going to be contracted. I think it's for 10 years. The book is contracted, and the author of the story gets a 35% royalty. So every month from 2 months after you publish, that's when you start getting your royalties, just like with the indie publishing. Mm-hmm. And that's when your royalties start coming in, if your book is selling. And I do some things to help promote it. I have a newsletter. And so when there's what I call a launch, so there's several times a year that we get the authors together, and there's like, say, 10 authors get published. And so not only do I send my newsletters out, they send their newsletters out, so they're cross-promoting as well. And they're on my website. The books are on my website, if they're in my group. If you're off the street, you're not on my website. So
wow.
There were some people that, like, the very first time was like, because their stories are sweet, meaning they're not very sexy. So even if you write sexy, I tell the authors, be strategic about this, and don't write a sexy book, because that's not what my readers are expecting.
Yeah.
However, in the back of your book, you can say, if you like this story, come read my other series, and and let them know that they're much more spicy than, if you like spicy historical Western romance, here's my series kind of thing. So the idea is to get some fans of my fans to become their fans.
Right.
So I had somebody off the street just sort of, and I called my rogue, my rogue authors. One of my rogue authors, I had this, started out, she's changed it since, with this virgin brides taking her virginity, some horribly weird and erotic title. Oh my God. What is she doing? Because I don't know her, because I would be going, go put it in an erotic, there's erotic worlds, go put it in one of those, because it won't fit. And then I downloaded a sample of just to see what the heck this was. And it wasn't even, like, she had taken her story and she had made some changes in it to make it, like, she changed the name of the mayor to my mayor. I don't have a mayor even, but now I have it in her book. The mayor was the owner of the mine. And, so she changed the names, but I'm reading it and going, this isn't even my world. Oh. She obviously wrote the story someplace else, and then she just changed it.
Yeah.
And then but I'm like, it's like, this is not you're not going to sell. And it was sort of sad, because I'm like, you're not going to sell any books. You're just not, because my readers are going to take one look at this title. They're going to sort of look at the sample, and they're not going to download it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. She hasn't sold books, and she has gotten 3 1-star reviews. And I feel really bad for her. If she had come to me first, I would have had a serious talk about heat levels and titles and really conforming to the world.
Yeah.
And then she would be able to sell. And if you're a new author, how discouraging it is to write a book that doesn't sell.
Yeah.
That is stuck for 10 years under contract. So make sure if you're going to do a world, make sure you know the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It didn't even occur to me that someone would be so far off track.
And it didn't to me either. And so it was like sort of a shock. And I was talking to because I'd call my rep up and go, because I was just going. And the way she framed it, which was sort of nice and sort of talked me down off the wall, which was like, she goes, this woman is just intrigued by your world and she wants to be part of it. And I'm like, okay. Okay.
That is a nice way to say it.
It's a nice way to look at it. I just feel bad that she's not going to sell, and I'm not going to promote her either. I'm not going to promote a book.
Yeah.
I open it up and I'm going, she didn't describe it right. She didn't, like, she has a culture clash, and I don't have those 2 cultures in my town. If you want a culture clash, you could still do that, but pick the cultures that are in the town already,
Right.
Have it be between the Chinese and the white people, or not the Bulgarians. I don't have Bulgarians. Bulgarians and whoever else they were. So that's why that was frustrating. It's like a little bit more work. You could have adapted it to fit. You would have, you could have changed the heat level a little bit, and you would have been able to sell your book.
Yeah. Okay. So, if readers readers, because we're all readers too, but if authors and listeners are interested in checking out different Kindle worlds out there, you have a Bible. Is it available to people who are interested in writing in your world?
They'd have to approach me and be in the Facebook group, because that's where it's available, is in the Facebook group.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And so
they can read my books, and they will get the information. And sometimes I never use the Bible, but it's easy for me to go, all right, I know where that description is. It's in that book, so I just sort of ruffle through and go, okay, here it is.
Yeah.
Other people can't do that, but.
Yeah. Yeah. Particularly, if we're talking about, it's unbelievable to me. Of course it's believable. It's just, wow, 60 books in one series. That's amazing.
And I think the thing is too, is like, I don't think we've even tapped the whole market for my readership. I think there's a lot of my readers that don't even know about these books yet. And so I think that my world is going to continue to grow as more and more of my fans try this and, they experiment and they go, oh, there's more books. And, because they have to wait. I have a book coming out in a couple days, but then they have to wait until August. for the
Yeah.
next one. And if they've already read them, now they can go, oh, more of my candy. I can eat
Yeah.
more candy.
Now, just so that listeners are clear, we are talking the end of February. Your book comes out March 1st, but this will go live after that. So why don't you give us a brief, it's book number 8.
Book number 8 of my big book. So it's called Bright Montana Sky. And it's 2 characters that actually are related to characters in my world in Sweetwater Springs. And in my very 3rd book, I had mentioned that they would be arriving. So the doctor had mentioned his brother's coming to do a practice with him. The livery stable owners talked about his daughter's coming, back to town. But I didn't realize at the time that there were more stories that were going to appear into my head and get written. And so in chronological Sweetwater Springs time, 3 years have passed. And it's like, I have to account for those years.
Yeah.
They've gone off and done other things, and now they've come to town, and they clash at first. And
Nice. All right. So everybody who's listening, this book is actually already out, and this is an Amazon only book?
Yes. The Montana Sky books are only Amazon.
Okay.
And they're all in Kindle Unlimited if you're a Kindle Unlimited reader.
Excellent. Okay. So you were talking about anybody can choose to write in your world, and the portal doesn't seem to have very much of a gatekeeper aspect to it.
And my rep just goes further on in the books. There are more. She goes, you only read the sample. There's more elements, as the book goes on that fit. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
And also too, it's like there's many Kindle Worlds. I haven't counted lately how many there are. But, I think it was something like 80 or something. So just because you don't write sweet historical romance doesn't mean that there isn't a Kindle World for you. So you can go on Amazon, you can look at their Kindle World page and explore the different worlds.
Yeah. So when somebody does write in your Kindle World, they are getting a contract with Amazon for 10 years. They're getting 35%. Does this have any effect on you? Do you have a royalty percentage?
Good. I get 35% as well.
Oh, good. Yeah. Because I was thinking that seemed fair.
So I get, for the manager.
That's right. If only you were able to manage more, right?
Well, that was part of the huge decision process because I was debating, do I do Kindle World or do I do it myself? Because I do have a book that's an anthology with other authors, Sweetwater Springs Christmas. And so I invited 10 other authors to write Christmas stories, short Christmas stories set in my world. And I contracted for them. I paid it for the books, and they sent them in, and I had to edit the heck out of all of those books. Oh. And I spent more time editing than I did. I could have written the book, and it turned out to be a really big book. It's a big, fat book. Wow. I could have written it in the time it took me to edit because I'm just one of those picky editors, and I will, and it's Llewellyn Nelson, my own editor's fault. So it's like, okay, there's no way that I'm not going to be able to do it on myself, or I'm not going to have my hands in the books. And so maybe I should and one of the other authors I was talking to, she goes, don't read their stories. She goes, you will be horrified.
Oh, yeah.
And, my reviews that all my authors are getting are really good, at least the ones that are part of my group. So I don't think I would be horrified because the reviews are so positive.
Yeah.
I know that I would be going, okay, they didn't seem said enough, or they didn't do this enough, or, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's actually easier on me to keep more of a distance.
Right. That does make sense. Yeah. So if all goes well, when people are listening to this interview, it will be followed by 3 more interviews with other authors who have written in your world. Mm-hmm. Now, are there any celebratory stories or, anything where you're like, okay, and you don't have to name names or whatever, but there was an author who did this and it was wonderful. I loved it. And I think their book is probably selling well because they did these things better or a certain way. Do you have any kind of advice like that?
Well, one of the things that we've learned a couple of things along the way, and that is that a bunch of the authors are doing series now. They have mini series within my series. Oh. So For example, Luella Nelson's she's my editor, so she knows my books really well. She's been there from the very beginning. And so hers are the Harbor Ranch series. And so she has 4 sisters who've come out to the Harbor Ranch, which is a ranch outside of Sweetwater Springs near Morgan's Crossing. And so she's got 3 of those books out. And Linda's, I think, is Entertainers of the West, I think, is her subseries. And so all of them in some way, shape, or form are sort of roving entertainers. And so they were coming through town and on adventures. So not just thinking of one story, but thinking of ways that you could actually, because you might just want to write one, but you might go, oh, this was a fun process and it's working and my readers want more. So let's have that happen. One of the things that Amazon does is they put the books on, or they may put the books on a sale after 3 months. So they may drop the price down to 99 cents, and it gives you an opportunity to do things like ads, for example, like e-reader news today, for example, is a good ad. Or I'll send out a newsletter that says, okay, these Kindle World books are on sale. I'll have my webmistress put red banners or sort of like sale banners on each cover that's on sale. That's
right.
So people can go and look at my website and they can see, oh, this is on sale. It doesn't happen every month, but it's a good opportunity. And Lou Nelson, she really took advantage the very first time her first book went on sale. She did some promotion. I did some promotion. She ended up selling that month almost 7,000 books.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my. That's amazing.
That was amazing. And she really hustled to make that happen. But it was really amazing. And so the possibilities are there if you really want to do that work. Now, the thing that Lou didn't get to take advantage of is that she didn't have any other Western books. She didn't have any Western historicals. And she did have a little bit of reader jump to some of her other books that she did have for sale, but she didn't have the big, huge surge that she would have gotten if she'd had a second or third book at full price.
Right.
So that's one of the things that, as wonderful as it was for her to have that many downloads. It wasn't as financially, she did make her 35% on that, but it wasn't as financially lucrative as it would have been if she had more in the series. She just did the Kindle World because of me, being my editor, being close. And it's actually somewhat her fault, as I was debating on, should I do this? Should I do the Kindle World or not? And I was spending a couple of days at her house because I was on deadline. And so a lot of times I'll just go stay with her and just hand her pages, right?
That's awesome.
So she woke up, she got the idea for the very first scene for her book. And I hadn't even committed to Kindle Worlds yet. And so I come down in the morning and she goes, here, she hands me these pages. This is a great scene. And I'm like, I guess this means I have to do it. It's your book.
Nice.
She hadn't been writing and she'd been having a lot of health challenges and had been really struggling with some depression. And maybe when you talk with her more. And so I said to her, and she was trying to write one of her, because she's a teacher, and she was trying to do a nonfiction book. I'm like, don't do something that's so boring. Do some fiction, have some fun. So so I'm like, okay, I'm telling her to have fun and write fiction, and I'm going to provide the vehicle. And, here she is 3 books later, and she started working on the 4th one. And so that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I suppose she really does, in a way, have a leg up. Nobody knows your world better than you, but she's the next person after you.
She is. And then the next person would be my second editor, my line editor, which is Linda Carroll Brad. She knows the books really well, as, the world really well as too. And so she's been writing a lot of, like I said, she's on, I think 5, and I think she's doing 6 right now as we speak. She's writing number 6. And so that's been good too. And I think she's been getting a lot of fans to her other books as well.
Yeah.
You wanted some more stories. I think one was one of my authors wrote me and said, I can qualify for RWA for PAN now because of her sales. She had enough sales or made enough money. I don't remember what the qualifications for PAN is at this point.
Yeah.
But she was able to, through her Kindle World books, qualify.
Oh,
And she was really, really excited. So
yeah.
everybody's level of success is different. If you're a new author or if you're a struggling author and you haven't had a lot of success, for you to sell 100 books might be like a really big deal.
Yeah.
So some of those authors, and they come to me and they say, I've sold this much. I'm like, and they're excited. I'm like, oh, okay, good. I'm glad you're happy. And because at first I'm like, oh, she's probably really upset. She's only sold 100 books, but she's not. And I have to remember that their perspective is going to be different than mine. And so it's exciting to watch people to sort of blossom because of what they're able to do.
Oh, that is wonderful. I like it.
Thank you.
Now, obviously, the listeners to the show will be from all genres and probably even some people who are writing nonfiction, but we're thinking, hey, have some fun, maybe try some fiction in the Kindle world. So you're saying you think there's around maybe 80 different Kindle worlds out there?
I think there is. And some of them, they do have a few franchises from, that are a little bit bigger, but I have not looked and I have not counted lately, but there might even be more. So there's plenty there's all the different kinds. There's all different genres. So it's not just romance. Just check around and see.
Yeah.
What you want to do is whatever it is you write now, you want to pick a world that's similar, because the idea is to not just have a little success in that world and make some money, but it's to just like grab those fans to pull them into your own series. So
you can put your list of already you can put the list of your backlist in the back of the book.
You can.
Or how does that work?
Yeah, I think what my people are doing is they're having like a little blurb that says here I am, this is what I do, here's my website, this is what I write, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I don't particularly care if they want to put something an excerpt or something like that. They can't put covers, so you can't do images for Kindle World, but you can definitely do some kind of small promotion at the back. And there's two kinds of Kindle Worlds as owners. Originally, Amazon was only doing the one kind of contract, and that was that the owner owns all the characters that the authors create.
Yeah, that's what I had heard first.
Right. And so there you do have to check to make sure which kind of world it is. I'm going to tell you that I don't think Amazon ever checks or cares that, but it is a contract. So, who knows down the road, 3 years from now, they might go, oh, wait a minute, you used a character that's in your book and you can't do that. But I know that I'm not going to care. I'm not going to go after any of my authors' characters. That's not even my contract. My contract is the kind that the authors own their own characters. So in other words, I'm saying if you want, take someone from your series and pull them into my series and then go do it again. Series. Or if you're a contemporary Western author, let's do your ancestors of your characters. Find a way to tie this Kindle World book or this Kindle World series into your series. And, I might brainstorm with them a little bit about how to do that, or they might brainstorm with the group on how to do that. But it's the idea of expanding their fan base. So taking my fan base and making it yours. And it also works two ways, because a lot of times people will jump to my Montana Sky books. They'll start because they're a fan of a particular author, and they read those and go, oh, okay, I want to do some more for Kindle World kind of thing.
Okay. Wow. It does sound like pretty much a win-win scenario, especially if you can stay true to the Kindle World that you've decided to write in.
Yes. And also write, because I've read a couple books, Kindle World books in others, and I actually did not keep going in them just because I'm like, they didn't quite get it. Whoever this author is didn't quite get this world enough. I love this world. I love the series. And, so that's important too, I think, is just trying to make sure you're sort of going with the flow of whatever the world is. And, that is something that you're going to enjoy writing. And so even if it's not like this big, huge breakout book, it still was a fun experience for you. And my authors are telling me for me, because again, I'm an involved owner. A lot of the owners aren't. They're much more, hands off, and they never talk to their authors, and so they might not even publicize them. They just put the world out there, and that's it. But I really want to try to make it work and make it a win-win situation for my authors, as well as for myself. If they do well, I do well.
Yeah. Wow. All right. This is really interesting. And I'm learning a ton. I love interviewing people because I always learn a ton. So, you think that maybe Amazon is not opening up many more Kindle Worlds? There's something that
I don't think so. The Kindle World rep has left to work in a different part of Amazon, and they've sort of combined Kindle Worlds now under another division. And so we're sort of multi-managed, but working with somebody who's got several other kind of responsibilities. And also when I asked, I said, are you going to be at any of the conferences this year? And she said, no. So like I said, that was a way to approach them and say, hey, do a pitch kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's not going to be, that doesn't mean it's never going to happen. It just doesn't look like, and they've never really been open to you querying them. And, it's like they sort of went fishing for worlds. And I think right now, they have as much as they can handle.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that if there wasn't you have a really successful established world of your own that's doing really well, doesn't mean that they wouldn't be interested.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering, because it seemed like at this point you would probably have to have a successful established world where you're the only writer and you're just trying to get even more writers into it, right?
Right, for whatever reason. And I think, like I was asking, because I'm in a Facebook group with other, world owners. And so we chat about world owner stuff. And some of them are saying today, it's like, okay, if they had to enter into a Kindle World today, they might not do it because from now on, not having our own rep and stuff like that, it might not be as successful. Who knows?
Right.
Is it worth the work? Not all. My world is one of the most successful worlds. That's not the case for a lot of them. And I know that my rep told me that. So and that she said, we're really pleased. We're very pleased with how they're selling. We're very pleased with your involvement. We're very pleased with the reviews. So
excellent. Congratulations. Nice. Wonderful. Wow. This is really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. I know a lot of people wonder about Kindle Worlds, but aside from people who aren't involved, who are also wondering, asking each other questions that no one knows the answers to, sometimes it's hard to get, clear information. And you're so pretty. I hate to use something like from the horse's mouth, but that's what I was going to say.
Thank you. We'll do that. We'll go with that analogy, right? The Westerns kind of thing.
That's true.
A couple other things about Kindle Worlds. One is Amazon sets the price. You don't control the price. So they have it based on word count. So if it's 20,000 words or less, they price it at 99 cents. If it is between 20,000 and 50,000, it's $1.99. And if it's over 50,000, it's $3.99. So if you're going to write a series, what I tell people to do is try to do your first book at $3.99. So go to 50,000. You don't have to keep on going and making a huge, huge book, but get to 50,000. So when Amazon puts it on sale from $3.99 to, if they put it on sale, they don't put all the books on sale, which has been frustrating for me. But to do that is that way, that first book can look like it will be a good sale. On the other hand, people are going to be more apt to try a new author to them at the $1.99 price point. So there's sort of pros and cons, but that price is something that you don't have control over.
Okay. So you don't have control over the price, but do I understand that the Kindle World's authors, the ones who are writing in, someone else's world like yours, are they the ones responsible for creating or buying or whatever the cover?
They are. I have a banner that they can put on the top. So top it says, Montana Sky Series, and in the banner that's only for my Kindle World. And that's not the same banner as, I don't have that banner on my own books, but it's for my Kindle World. So it's like immediately something that my readers are getting to understand. Okay, that's that book. I also do for my authors, I do a letter of introduction for their books because I wanted it to be really clear to people that I didn't write them.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I didn't want people going, doesn't sound like her. Or, I didn't want that those bad reviews on those books just because of expectations.
Right.
So in the very beginning, I created a letter that basically said, welcome to my Kindle World, and this is title by author. And then I put a little sentence or two of how I know that author. So if it'd be you, say you're writing for me, for my Kindle World, I'd say, I've known Kitty for, I don't know how many years,
Yeah.
20 years. And we're in the local RWA chapter together. And so that's that little, so it personalizes it, and it makes them see, okay, they have a relationship. Right. And then I say, I hope you enjoy reading whatever the title is.
Yeah.
So all of the Kindle World's books in my group have those, which is reminding me, because I have a release on March 6th, which this might be after that. I don't know. Yeah. That I have to go to my authors and go, okay, you guys all have your letters. You have to send me your letters.
Right,
I make them write the letters, and I just review them and edit them and make sure it works.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Nice.
Head off some of those problems at the pass.
Right. Yeah.
And now I told my friends about it, and now other owners do the same thing.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Not everybody, but a lot of them do it too.
Well, and especially because it keeps you from having to write 40 letters, like 40 other people now are writing those letters and you're just reviewing them.
and now too, they can just take if they're doing a series, they can just take the original letter and just change the titles.
Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome. This has been so fun. Thank you for all this information.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
I have to say, there's probably people going, well, I could probably write sweet historical Westerns because she just sounds like kind of a cool world owner. And I have to say, I personally like
which is probably not a good business decision. Writing because you like that owner.
It's fun to say that you own a world, though.
It is fun. It is.
Awesome. Well, listen, I know that we have some time constraints. Okay. And I want to make sure that we get to tell everybody where can people find you, your books, and if there's a place where they can find your Kindle World to look into it. Let us know about that. Okay.
Well, they can go to my website, which is Debra Holland, Debra, Holland, like the country, HOLLAND.com. And I have a Kindle World's page there. And it tells them where to go, and where they can download, and it shows you all the different books. So you can pull a few of my books and read some of my books, or, at least read the samples if you don't want to pay for them.
Yeah.
The World, or Kindle Unlimited, you can read them for free. And then the other thing I just has changed is now recently, these books are also in Kindle Unlimited too. So if you have a subscription, you can read these books for free too. And, read a few and see what people are doing, and and contact me because there's a contact on that. So
excellent. And then if they're interested in some of the other books that we mentioned in your bio, they can just go to your website also, find them.
Or they can go to a website, or they can go to Amazon.
Cool.
Just look me up. I'm there.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing all the information.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Cool. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.